Welcome to today's webinar, courtesy of the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. Discover no-cost, valuable business services to help you thrive, whether starting your entrepreneurial journey or scaling your existing business. We have the resources and expertise to help you succeed. For more information, please visit our website or text 502-977-5800. Thank you for joining us today. Feel free to use the chat feature to ask questions or engage with our speaker. Let's get started.
Well, welcome everybody. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director here at the Kentucky Small Business Development Center here in Louisville, and my video won't come on again like it did last time. So there we go. Nope, didn't do it again. I don't know what's going on, but I'll just keep talking anyway. But yeah, again, I'm here in Louisville. I'm joined with my good friend and coworker, Janet Flaw. There we go. Hey, Janet.
Hi, Dave. Hi, Dave. Still not seeing you yet.
Really?
There is something wrong with this new laptop that you have. I'm telling you.
I know. There we go.
There you
Now I'm gone. Jesus. Oh, well. Anyway, as we always do, have our technical difficulties here, but just want to let you know, thanks for joining us today on our Toolkit Tuesday. Always happy to see everybody join, and thanks for jumping in. I know you guys are busy. Appreciate your time. You know, the Kentucky Small Business Development Center program is a statewide program as part of a national program too. So you're wherever you are in the country, you can always find an SBDC somewhere to help you out. So locally here, you can get in touch with us at KentuckySBDC.com and look in the locations tab up top there, and you scroll down and see Louisville. Click on that. You can contact all of us, get on our schedules. We can schedule a Zoom call. Whatever you need, we're here to help you. So all free, check it out. And just to make sure that we don't have any more glitches, if you look at the bottom of your screen, you should be able to see a toolbar. If you don't, just take your cursor and kind of hover over it. It should pop up. See the little chat button? If you wouldn't mind just hitting that and just saying hello, that you can hear and see us, that tell us your name and where you're joining from. This does two things for me. It lets me know that there's actually people out there, and also lets me have a good time understanding where everybody comes from. So it's always great to see people from all over the place. There is Andrea from Southern California. Great, good to see you. Hey, McCarran, how are you? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you're doing well. Nancy from New York. Sarasota, Florida. Hello, Portia, Laura, Lexington, Kentucky, Louisville. All right, everybody's coming in. It's getting a little bit fast here. Hard to keep up. Las Vegas, another California. Mary Beth from Antonio, Texas. So we have people from all over. Sin from Philadelphia. I was just there the other day, or a couple weeks ago. So, well, thanks everybody for joining. Hey, Sharon from Houston. Good to see everybody. So, you know, we've been on kind of a really exploratory journey here to figure out the best ways to market your business. And, you know, what we hear a lot is, you know, if we ask somebody what your marketing plan is, they generally say, you know, I'm going to do a bunch of social media, and that's great. That's kind of the starting point. But I think you want to really think about having a sales funnel. You know, if social media is the top of your funnel, how do you use that to really get something done? Use a call to action and bolt on some other tools to make that really work for you. And so to help us out and come up with that plan, we've invited our good friend, Patty Ross from Golden State Marketing, to kind of walk us through the whole process to use social media to build us a marketing funnel. And Patty, it's good to see you as always. Thanks for taking time out of your day to share with everybody. I know everybody's looking forward to hearing you. As we go through today, if you have any questions or comments, just put them in the chat. You know, Patty and I will both be watching. You know, Patty may jump in. We can have plenty of time at the end for some discussion if we need to. But here's a great opportunity for you guys out there to really ask some targeted questions to a true marketing expert. And so make sure you take advantage of that. Patty, how are you today?
Doing good. Thank you for asking. I'm excited to be teaching. Of course, I always love teaching these classes.
Of course, yes, you do. Yes, you do. You're
Oh,
very good at it.
good. Ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Let
go.
me share my screen and we'll get this party started. The marketing party. Okay, so let me get this, the slides. Okay, let me do it. Oh, make sure I don't have any technical glitches. There
No,
we go.
you don't.
Okay,
You're doing
see
great.
the slide looks good. Seeing the slide?
Perfect.
All
Yeah.
right, we're recording. Okay, perfect. Well, welcome everyone. Yes, you're going to get the recording, slides, content calendar, everything after SVDC will be sending you that once we get that all together. So yes, as mentioned by David, definitely use the Q&A chat. Q&A for questions, any just chatter, comments, networking, whatever you want to do in the chat so I can easily distinguish any questions that come up. So I'm offering this in collaboration, as you can see, with Constant Contact, who is their email platform. Well, more than an email platform these days. Been around since 1995. I think I was probably using it back then. Like one of the first ones out there. So our combined content together to talk about both email and social media working together to help using social media to help build your email list. So I'll be giving some basic tips overall. I do teach other more in-depth social media, separate classes, email classes, but it's kind of give you just a little taste of both and how to work and use them together and use a tool like Constant Contact to help you with that. So here we go. So a little bit about me. Some of you have met me in previous classes, virtually at least, so some might be new to me, but I have been in the online space, as you can see here, for a million years, since the internet dinosaurs roamed the earth, as I like to say. This is actually year 21. I need to update my slides here. Year 21 in wine industry. I typically have one or two wineries in my portfolio at any given time, but I do work with all types of businesses, business to consumer and business to business, and a little business to government as well. But all types of restaurants, retail, manufacturing, just a little bit of everything here. And I do teach classes for SBDCs, as I'm doing today, SCORE, women's business centers, chambers, etc. So you can find me across the country in many different places. And I do also serve my local business community. I encourage people to do that as well to help support your business, but to support your local business community. So getting involved, I serve as the current membership director of NABO Los Angeles, which is the National Association of Business Owners. I know they have an active chapter in Kentucky in Louisville. So check that out if you are a local women business owner there. We have 50 chapters across the country. And I also do serve as a board member for my local Chamber of Commerce in my neighborhood in Venice here in Los Angeles. So get out there, serve on committees, serve on boards, and support your local business community as well as support yourself. So there's my plug for serving. Got to do that. So the world of advertising and marketing, right? And we're talking social media and email today, but it's much broader than that. And I know it can be confusing. Like, where do you go for your business? Where do you spend your time and money? Do you go to traditional side, TV, radio, print ads, billboards, maybe some public relations? Of course, promotional products are part of the marketing advertising mix. Networking, whether it's done online or in person, or anything digital, right? Such newer stuff. Websites, social media, email marketing, text and Wi-Fi marketing. There's social media influencers and affiliate marketing, which has been around as long as I've been doing this, 25 years or more. I was doing affiliate marketing. That's right. So where do you go to spend your time and money? And it's important to have a plan in place, right, to do that and figure out what's best for you. Not everything's best for everybody, just based on where your audience is. Also, your budget might affect that, but definitely figuring out. But today we'll focus, of course, on social media and email marketing. So what's the difference between the two, right? Social media, you can definitely reach more people, potentially, depends on the size of your list. And of course, the size of your following and how often you're out there in the algorithm. Email typically is supposed to be opt-in only, however you grab your people to subscribe, right? However you curate your list. You don't own your social media audience, right? But you do own your email list. I mean, it's once they opt in with you, it's your list to do whatever you want with it. Where, social media is maybe a little bit more fickle with your relationship. The algorithm limits how your content gets out there. So Facebook, you might get a 2% organic reach on average. It's been that way for years. But with email marketing, you have about an average of a 97% deliverability rate. That means 97% of your emails show up in the recipient's inbox. Great deliverability rates are usually anything above 90%. But your organic reach, just like I said, especially Facebook with 2%. So let's just say you have 1,000 email subscribers and 1,000 followers on your Facebook page. Only 2% of those 1,000 on Facebook might see your content on a regular basis. This depends on how often they engage and reach, but out of that 1,000 on your email list, 97% on average it's gonna be sitting there in their inbox. The other few percentage points are typically the bounces or some technical issue that happened that didn't get in the inbox, but generally you get a high deliverability rate. Whether they open it or not, it's a different story, right? So the next thing, ability for people to engage and reshare content, of course, so that's important. They can include long form content and email. I mean, people could share it, but it's an easier thing to do to share content on social media. And it is hard to see the impact across the channels on social media, meaning your conversion rate, your ROI on it, where on email, that's the thing about email marketing that people forget. It is the highest ROI of any marketing tool out there. Average of a $36 return on investment for every dollar spent, 36 to 44, depending on what year it is. It bounces around in there. All right, so we'll talk a few little stats to start with social media, and then we'll talk email. So these are how many social media users are worldwide, right? Just in general. Facebook is still #1, believe it or not. YouTube is now #2. It bumped Instagram off of the #2 spot, and you could see going down the line, TikTok, LinkedIn, etc., where they fall in the number of users. And then the reasons people are on social media, how they use it, right? So and it's starting at the bottom, right? The most, going from most to the least to the top. So definitely keeping in touch with friends and family, right? Filling spare time, reading news, finding content, right? So making new contacts. So you could see it drops up where it is, where it's shopping, finding products to purchase, kind of smack in the middle. Finding inspiration for things to do and buy. So if we are selling things, right? It's not one of the top reasons, but it's kind of in the middle. You know, it might be a drive-by, call it, situation. I don't go on Facebook to shop necessarily, but as I'm scrolling through and seeing my friends and my pages and groups and stuff on my newsfeed, stuff comes up. I'm like, oh, look at those cute shoes, or look at that jewelry, or whatever item comes up. So like I said, kind of like a drive-by, not necessarily a primary objective of getting on Facebook is to see ads and products to purchase. But hey, if I see it and I like it, right, I'm going to buy it. So social media users in general by generation. This is across all platforms. Each platform is going to have a little bit different demographics on here, but across the board, you could see here, generally, most of the users are going to be in the Gen Z, right? 13 to 28, followed by those millennials, 29 to 44, right? Already getting up there, middle age with millennials. Gen X, right? We're 45 to 60, the top one just turned 60 this year. And of course, the baby boomers, right? 61 to 79 starts to drop off a little bit. And that silent golden generation, the greatest generation after that, really drops off from there. So majority of it is going to be that 30, say, millennials and below are going to be on it. And when you break it down by platform, for example, Facebook has more of the 45 and below than you would see on Instagram or TikTok or X or any of the other ones. Overall, you'll see more of that, but in general, you're not going to see as the older generations, the older folks are not on as social media as much. In comparison to, I have the email statistic to show you the comparison to email. And I want to make sure you all take this seriously, right? So your marketing as seriously as anything else. I see this, I hear this all the time. I say, oh, my 17-year-old daughter, she's great on creating Instagram reels. She has cute stuff she does. So I'm just going to have her do my social media for me. or my son has great YouTube videos, so I'm going to have him do it for me. So I want you to take your marketing as seriously, as lovely as your son and daughter are in creating stuff for you. There's a lot more strategy to your social media than just creating cool trending audio, Instagram reels that your kid comes up with. You wouldn't have her be your HR manager because she's great with people or because she gets straight A's in math. You wouldn't make her your accountant, I would hope, right? Right. So take your marketing just as seriously as you would any other thing, and hire the professionals, bring in the professionals, learn from the professionals here to do it yourself, but make sure you take your marketing just as serious. So they can create a couple side videos or whatever for you, but like I said, there is a lot more to it and a lot more at stake, right? Than them just creating fun stuff for their friends and family, to do or to look at. So here's what we'll cover. Just a little bit of basics overall today. Not too in-depth on either one of these, but we'll talk about making sure your social media profiles are complete, to date. Creating some captivating content. I'm going to show you my content calendar and content pillars and all that, how to organize and figure out what kind of content to put out there. And then how to convert your social media followers into email subscribers. Right? So we'll cover those topics. So make sure you complete your social media profiles to improve a lot of things here. Hold on, my Zoom bar is always in the way. There we go. And it likes to collapse into different sizes. So definitely for credibility, visibility, relevance, and first impression, and the consistency to get engagement. So just a few samples. So make sure you optimize your social profiles, right? So complete your entire profile, check all of them, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you're on, all of the social media platforms. Make sure they're up to date, current. You have if it's a profile like your LinkedIn, have a professional picture there and it's current, right? Have an eye-catching cover photo. So the banners that you have on your social media, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, where you can have banners, make sure those are up to date and they are represent you and your business. Definitely leverage your business description. Excuse me, or the about areas. Make sure that's up to date, especially on LinkedIn. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. Make sure if you are a business owner and you own a business and maybe you use LinkedIn in the past and you were working for somebody else, make sure your LinkedIn doesn't read like a resume, right? You're not searching for a job if you're a business owner. I don't think, you are. So make sure it is up to date, that explains who you are, what your business is, who you serve, et cetera. And it's not kind of like what it used to be for you on LinkedIn. Definitely leverage featured links on each platform where available. I'll show it to you on LinkedIn where they have featured links on there. It's one thing that people kind of forget. So with LinkedIn, and I don't know who in here is B2B. If you want to share in the chat, if you are business to business, and if you utilize LinkedIn, I'm curious to know in the room. So just drop that in the chat and make sure everybody has access to the chat there. So who in the room is B2B? So business to business. And maybe some of you who are business to consumer. And if you want to share what type of business you are as well, that would be great. So this is confusing for some people, the LinkedIn presence. I always want to make sure, and I do teach a full LinkedIn Essentials class too, and it breaks all of this stuff down, but this is kind of the core. This always gets confusing. It works similar to Facebook, where you start with a profile, right? Except, on Facebook, it's your personal stuff and information on there. And on LinkedIn, it's your business resume and information on there. But we all start with a profile. It should be your name, your professional resume, your skills, your jobs, your education, your volunteer work, et cetera. Whatever you're putting on there should be your headshot, nice, clean, clear headshot. You can use that background photo for your business, but it should be you. Shouldn't be using LinkedIn profiles as a company profile. And you should have only one because you're only one person, right? LinkedIn doesn't want to see you having multiple profiles because it'd be confusing. If I happen to go searching, say Nancy Wolf, it just came up in the chat, so I'll use her as an example. I'm searching for Nancy Wolf. I want to connect with her on LinkedIn, but she decided to have 3 profiles because maybe she has 3 different things going on in her business world. It would be confusing. So you should only have one. Okay. Now, as far as company pages, similar to Facebook, they are managed by your profile. So you would set up your company pages under your profile, and you can have as many as you want. With company pages, it's just, again, you're one person, we can have 50 companies. We want to have that many. So Nancy said she really does have 3 businesses, but you'd still have one Nancy and then 3 company pages if you wanted to have that, but still only one. Rare exception, would be, I'll explain that in a second, but if you have different situations going on. So let's just, I'm going to keep picking on Nancy here for a little bit, nicely, of course. So say Nancy, she has 3 businesses. Maybe she has a job. She works for Goldman Sachs, right? And she's a financial analyst for Goldman Sachs. And then she has her 3 businesses there. But Goldman Sachs wouldn't really approve of her having these other businesses. So she have to decide, like, well, I can't really put my businesses on LinkedIn because Goldman Sachs might find out. So if you have situations where you can't have one see the other, it does get a little tricky, right? Because what lane are you going to pick? Are you going to be running your own businesses or hiding from Goldman Sachs, or do you have to promote Goldman Sachs? So it's hard because, again, you can't do aliases or have multiple profiles. I mean, even Goldman Sachs might find 3 Nancys right on there. So you do have to be careful. Like I said, you shouldn't do aliases or any other name other than you. Again, not using the profile as a company page. And again, the rare instance that was the one exception that I had a personal experience with is I worked with an author of a book that he did use a pseudonym because he literally is in witness protection because the book is about exposing the mob. I don't know his name. I don't want to know his name. It's like la 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 la. Like, don't tell me his real name. I don't want the mob coming after me. But we did use his author's pseudonym for the LinkedIn because we did promote it on LinkedIn as well. Rare exception. If I don't think anybody, don't tell us if you're on witness protection. We don't want to know. But that would be only rare exception. And it's hard to, you could sell books that way, but it's hard to do business if you had to, especially if you're in witness protection, it'd be hard to do business. So again, one profile that is you, okay, you're one person, you can have as many company pages. And then this is one, there's a ton of stuff on LinkedIn, but this is one kind of underutilized feature. When you go to your profile, there's a featured section and you can add whatever you like there. So this is mine that I set up. I put my marketing training link to my website. I said, hey, sign up for my email list. And then, of course, I put my educational page from my website. So I'm going from LinkedIn and promoting obviously my business, my webinars, and of course, sign up for my list. And you can have more. These are they show 3 at a time. They can keep scrolling, but make sure you use that feature. Have it go to things that you want them to convert to. Meaning go to your business, go sign up for something, right? Join your newsletter, whatever it is you want to put in there. So make sure, have everything filled out, utilize all the features that are on all of the platforms, right? And for Instagram, right, make sure your bio is filled out. You should have, all the information there, who you are, good description. This one I just grabbed randomly. I happened to be searching for something and it came up. Have your link in bio. You see, you can have more than one link. They have a bit.ly link there. And the other one that's hidden that says +1 is their link in bio. So make sure you do have links out, right, to they mentioned download your app, sign up to be a member, even though you can't click on that right there, but make sure it's filled out and complete, and all of your platforms, right? I just gave you a couple of examples. Go through, do a little audit of all of your social media platforms and make sure you have your links in your bio, make sure they work. Like every time I'm talking to my advising clients, new ones or strategy sessions, I go and, scope out your social media and your websites. And typically I haven't come across anybody who's like really doesn't have one thing broken, right? Their link's not working. It's going to a stock page. It's, it's old link, not to the delivery app, it had the wrong link. So make sure you're always auditing everything to make sure it's up to date, right? And so content, right? This is, let's see, I'm gonna look here. We're similar to DoorDash, Uber, except we help with everyday tasks like killing a spider or organizing or bringing your gas if you run out. I love that. It's kind of like, is that like TaskRabbit, or I don't know if that's similar to that. It's interesting. Come kill my spiders. So content is king. Marketing thrives on content here. So important thing is whatever you're doing, your email, your social media, your blog, your website, it's all about building content. So you can take one piece of content and repurpose it into different forms, right? I know what's going on here. I didn't even touch anything and it went backwards. So it's spooked. You can take, and I'll show you, so you can take different forms of content and make it into other types of content. You can repost evergreen content, which means you're taking a piece of content and just putting, I'll explain evergreen in a minute with the social media platform. So different things you can do with it. You can take various forms of content, turn them into short form videos. You can create infographics, live streams, polls, quizzes, etc. And this is my slide. So I call it content journey mapping, right? How can you take one piece of content and turn it into multiple pieces, like I was just showing on the previous slides, right? Now, everybody's in the room is not going to have the same journey map. And there's no template or anything for this. So, I'm not going to see it. You can map this out yourself. This is really just for a visual to show you that your content, it shouldn't be a silo, right? Like I create a blog post over here, then I got to do this video content, oh, the email too, and the social media posts. I want you to put this in your head, how you can repurpose content. Take that one blog post. Let's just say, for example, I own a dog treat business. So I'm going to do a top 10 organic dog treats for your dog. So I can do a blog post on that. And then maybe I send that out via email, of course. Then maybe I can break that out into little separate videos, like one dog treat per video, or I can do them all in one. I can then create my TikTok and my Facebook and maybe put it on Pinterest, whatever my platforms are, right? I'm not saying everybody sign up for all the platforms and do all of it, but just figure out what are your platforms, what are the different places that you need to repurpose content, right? And turn it into something else. They're not always, and you can do the same content across all of the social media platforms. You don't have to build different content. The only exception would be on social media, social media, but on LinkedIn, where if you're kind of B2B and B2C, you'd have obviously more B2B content on LinkedIn, but on the other platforms, more B2C related content. So again, no particular template or anything for this, just kind of visualize it, lay out your content and how you can repurpose it. And my content calendar will kind of show you how you can sync all of these up as well. Perfect. And you're welcome all to network in the chat. You have other business owners in the room. There's 81 of us in here. Share your LinkedIn profile, your website address. Tell us what you do. Feel free to network, because you never know who's in the room. You might have a customer in the room as well. I shop via chat. So make sure you share, and we'll send the links and everything to you, so you guys can click on each other's profiles and all that. So content pillars and content types. Anybody in the room ever create their content pillars? You know what it is? Raise your hand or say yes in chat. You've done it. Others are like, what is she talking about? Okay, Makara has. Okay, perfect. So explaining what these are, two different things. So starting with your 4 content types. This is for your social, your email, etc. Your content should fall into these 4 buckets, right? Just to start making it easier to figure out what kind of content you should put out there on a regular basis. So you should have a mix of educational content. That could be anything really, how-to guides, FAQs, tutorials, industry insights. You can do inspirational content that can fall under success stories, motivational quotes, testimonials, behind the scenes, promotional, right? That's what we probably all are really good at, right? Here's my product, here's my service, here's my product, here's my service. Can't be all that, right? And then interactive could be polls, quizzes, contests, user generated, and Q&A sessions, right? And then now we have these 4 buckets, right? And then we have content pillars. Excuse me, 2 different things. My throat got dry. Content pillars are exactly what it says here. I can't say it any better. Key topics or themes that your brand's content will revolve around, right? They provide the structure to your content strategy, ensure consistency, right? So I'm going to show you that. So basically, I think about, like, if in Athens, in Greece, the Parthenon, the marble, building up on the hill. And, the pillars, the marble pillars holding up what was left of the roof there, right? They are providing the foundation to keeping that building together, right? So think of those pillars as what are those themes that you can use on a regular basis to use on social media and email, etc. Right? I see somebody here is in Carson, California. All right, I have a restaurant client there. If you ever been to Darrow's, that's one of my clients there. So content pillars, I'll show you some examples here. So, and this going before I explain that, this is the breakdown within your buckets, those 4 content types broken down. So that promotional one should only be about 10%. And then the other, obviously informational, the other 3 buckets fall under these kind of informational, emotional. So it should be kind of a mix of those 3 and some promotional. It shouldn't be all promotional, right? So these are examples of some content pillars for different types of businesses. So now you can, and you're going to see on my counter, you can go to AI, ChatGPT, or whatever tool you're using and ask them to create content pillars for you. I'm going to give you some prompts on the content calendar as well to use. But this is for a business, for example, one of my advising clients, they do have a business where they work with businesses on company culture, employee retention, leadership building skills, etc. So now it will give you 8 different pillars, but pick the 4 strongest. What are the 4 out of these that would cover the 4 buckets, right? And have content that you can create on a regular basis, right? So say, for example, he's going to do every week one on leadership development, skill development and training, company updates and services offered. So that would be promotional, right? And then maybe team building. But he might not have testimonials and success stories every week. So maybe he sprinkles that one in as kind of a sub pillar, right? So the other ones, think of the 4 strongest ones. You can always bring in the other ones as subs, but as long as you're getting, say, 4 good ones covered, right? Another example, so a winery, work a lot with wineries, as I said. So they could pick one that's wine education, promotional and special offers, pairings and recipes, and events and tastings. And the others might be, maybe there's an occasional article on sustainability practices or post about it. And, testimonials and reviews might be just a few, right? And then a travel agency, tons of topics to talk about. So destination spotlights, travel deals and promotions, behind the scenes, and travel related news and updates. And the rest would be kind of sprinkled in there. And then if we have any nonprofits in the room, you probably all have pretty similar pillars, no matter what your cause, who you out there, who or what you serve. Impact stories, right? How is it helping what you're doing? Maybe volunteer donor spotlights, of course, events and fundraisers, that would be promotional for a nonprofit, and then maybe community engagement, right? And then the other ones would be kind of those sub pillars. So again, coming up with those themes so you're not sitting there struggling, like, what do I post? Okay, I already did one about my product. Okay, what else? I don't have anything else going on. This will start building that foundation of helping you organize your content and get it out there on a regular basis. And you're covering all bases, right? So I'm sure anybody here want to raise their hand on being overwhelmed and how to get it all done. Especially if you're doing it yourself, right? Raise your hand, say yes in chat. Yes, hallelujah, right? It can be overwhelming and it is a lot of work, right? I was talking to a business yesterday. It's a local restaurant, been around for 40 years and, struggling past COVID, and like, we need to get more business in, but they're not keeping up with social media. Right? They're admittedly, like, the person doing it, family member is busy and can't get it done on a regular basis. I'm like, okay, how are you going to solve that? Right? Because you're talking to me because you're struggling to get more business in the door, but you're not doing anything to help get the business in the door by doing regular social media and email and everything. Right? So got to overcome that. It is a lot of work. It is going to take dedicated time and energy, whoever does it, you or somebody else, right? So yes, I see all the overwhelmed in the chat. So I'm going to hopefully give you some tools and processes to help with that. It still is going to be a lot of work, but there are tools, there are ways to get it done quicker. So I always break this down into 4, sorry, not 4, making one up, 3 steps here. First, planning, right? Having a calendar, doing the planning time. And I say, if you're doing it yourself, block your time out every month, right? I always work a month ahead. So I'll just take one sip. My throat's really dry. Here we go. So I work a month ahead in content. So it's where are we? The 6th of the month. We're already working. We did the planning. We did the calendar phase. That's usually the beginning of the month for the coming month. So we're in the middle of just starting to work on June content. Right. So the first step, the planning, a couple hours a month at the beginning, filling out your calendar, figuring out your pillars and themes and all of that stuff going on. The next step is create, right? That's going to be your biggest part. Got to create all the social media graphics and emails and blogs and videos and all the stuff. And that will be, depending on you, who's doing it and how much you're doing, that could be a couple hours a week or more. And then scheduling. Once you have it all done, you got to schedule on social media, get the email scheduled out, just load up your blogs, do all that things. That's maybe a couple hours per month as well at the end. So how I block my time, or I say how I work, and I'd say block my time, is at beginning of the month, we do the planning, we figure out the calendar, right? Then we do the creation. So between the, say the 5th and the 15th, 20th, because I have clients that I do the actual work for them. And so we're creating the social media and stuff. So by the 15th, 20th at the latest, we have the calendar filled out. Here's all your social media stuff. I'm going to show you the calendar here. And so they have time to review it because they often want to approve the content before we schedule it for them. So I give them, let's say about 10, 15 days to do that. They send it back with, hey, make these changes. We go back with, here are the changes. And once they approve it, at the end of the month, we schedule everything out on using a social media scheduling tool, load up the emails, and then it's done. I don't have to worry about posting anything all month unless it's some, spontaneous thing they want posted up, but it's all done. I'm not like, oh, today's the 6th. What do I need to post up? Right. Because it's all done. Right. Yes. And you will get your replay recording link here, Jeff. So again, you might not have to have somebody else approve the content, but give yourself that time, block it off. And get to that point of working a month ahead, so that you're not constantly in overwhelmed scramble mode, right? We want to kind of try to avoid that as much as possible. So the calendar that I'm going to show you, and we'll make sure that you get it as well, along with recording and slides, is a Google Sheets document. I just actually found out that I went to a Canva conference a couple weeks ago, and they're just launching all their new features. They have a Canva sheet, so I might wind up changing to that eventually. But for now, it's Google Sheets, something simple. Use whatever works for you. If you don't like my calendar, that's okay, but use a tool to help you organize everything, right? And like I said, take away the overwhelm, work ahead. We're in May, right end of this month, which is my birthday, is the middle of the year. It's crazy, right? So before you know it, we're going to be at the end of August. Like if we blink, it's going to happen. So if you are Q4 driven, so holiday sales, or it's all about you, make sure you should have that planned out by the end of August, not October, and then thinking about holiday sales, right? So again, Valentine's Day should be planned by November. Mother's Day, which is this weekend, should be planned by Valentine's Day. So work as far ahead as you can to get planning. Don't wait until that last minute, and you might miss out, not have time to market and do the things you need to do. Use a calendar for both planning and archive purposes. Right. So once you fill it out, you have it for planning for today, and then you can have it look at next year, know what you did. Right. So, and then use a tool like Canva to create your graphics, your video. If you're not using, if you use something else, that's fine. Canva, oh my God, it's the new features that they brought in. I think they're going to put Photoshop out of business, right? But use these tools to help make it easier to create your graphics, your marketing materials, all of that. I would say definitely do the pro version. I don't own any stock in this Australian company, but I definitely recommend paying for the $10 or $15 a month on the pro. A lot more features, especially newer features, a lot more access to stock photos and things. So makes easy to create graphics. You don't have to be a graphic designer to use this tool. So, and then a scheduling tool. So this is for social media. This is the one I use called Metricool. So if you are only on Facebook and Instagram, you could use Meta. They have a scheduling tool, and you can schedule both Facebook and Instagram at the same time. But since I'm usually posting to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Google for businesses, I'm usually using this tool. You can multi-schedule, so I can just pull up, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of them, put in the posts. I can do a little tweaks per platform. Yes, and Canva is free for nonprofits. Thank you for sharing that, Denise. And then also they have an evergreen feature. So what evergreen is, or they call it auto list here on Metrical, is, say, for example, we're going to talk about that later. You can say I want to promote my email subscription, and I can put up a post and say every Wednesday at 9 a.m. Put out the post, hey, sign up for my mailing list. I don't have to go and schedule it every week myself and post it up. It just, you set it to and forget it kind of thing. You auto or list it or evergreen it. And I really love their analytics, their reporting tools out of all of the other programs out there like Buffer and Hootsuite and Later and Post Planner. So far, I really love their reporting tools that I share with my clients. And Metricool, they do have a free account, even though it does not include LinkedIn. It's limited by, I think you can do 50 total posts per month, but the cheapest plan is $18 a month. So that's a pretty good price for this particular tool. And so this is the calendar pages. Again, it's Google Sheets. This is the first page. So you have a page of hashtag days to use if you want to use hashtag days for social media, like Motivation Monday and Wellness Wednesday, Foodie Friday, etc. So they're there for you to grab if you want them. And then the content pillars. So I gave you the prompts. I did them for ChatGPT. I did one for the paid version of the free version. And ignore the numbers there. I think I still have the old GPT-4 and 3.5. And they're a bunch of different numbers now on different versions. On the difference with the paid version is you can give it a website URL and have it go to your website, and then have it, based on the information on your website, give you the content pillars based on the mix of the four content types. Free version, you're going to have to feed it a lot more information about your business, what you do, and etc., for it to figure out pillars for you. And then you can, put your pillars here that were created and figure out which pillars are going to be your strongest pillars and what you're going to maybe use as sub pillars, etc. Skip this slide. Sorry, those are old pages before ChatGPT pillars came up. And then each month you're going to have national holidays. These are pulled from nationaldaycalendar.com. So to add to the mix for more engagement and reach, tons of interesting, funky, fun holidays. Some might be related to your business. Some might just be for, fun that you could relate to your business in some way. And I'll show you how these kind of work on the calendar. And then this is a calendar page. So when you see it, it's going to be blank, right? This is just for demo purposes here. Whether you're B2B or B2C, it works the same. I'll show you the B2B page as well, but it's exactly the same use. So you see here the content, the color coding there, the holidays, whether they're traditional like New Year's and MLK Day, and the fun holidays here. In red, green is events, orange email, website, blogs, baby blue, news, LinkedIn we'll see on the B2B calendar, social media posts. So that's either a text post or a graphic post would be purple. Your social media stories, so your Instagram or Facebook stories, will be turquoise. And then your general social media video. So whether it's your Reels, your TikToks, your YouTube Shorts, etc., just put it as video content. So then you start filling this in. So for social media, should be most of your content, figure out what you're going to first post about, what type of posts. I'll plug in all of the hashtag days I'm going to use first for the whole year. I'll go through, well, first thing I'll do is I'll go through the whole year, check all the boxes for all the holidays I want to use each month. Okay. Once you check the boxes, you do have to bring them on your calendar. They don't magically appear once you check the boxes. I've had people think that they do. So you check off all the holidays, bring that in. Then I would do hashtag days. So for this skincare brand, we're using Motivation Monday and Wellness Wednesday. So I will copy and paste them onto every single Monday and Wednesday for the entire year. Even if I'm not going to use it, just bookmark them on there. So you might not use them every week, but just put them on there so you know for potential use. And then I will see any events that we have going on that we need to promote would be next. And then I would start with the social media post, adding in, okay, we're going to do posts for the holidays. We also have the International Self-Care Day and National Hyaluronic Acid Day to promote. We have content around our hashtag days. We're going to do some how-to use product videos on Thursdays. There was like a video Thursday. So on the first line, you're going to do what type of post? Is it a hashtag day? Is it a how to use a product video, etc.? Is it asking a question or a motivational quote? On the second line, you're going to put what specifically are you going to do? So you know for planning, right? I know which product videos I need to create: the lavender face wash, the hyaluronic acid serum, the creamy night cream. I know what I'm going to use for the ask a question. How many skincare products do you use? So you want to get specific on that second line so you know what to plan for. And then for archive purposes, you have it there as well. So you know next year, like, oh, okay, we already asked that question, or already did the product video on the serum, right? For emails, you work a little bit differently, work a little backwards. So you figure out, we have a bunch of things going on this month. We have an event, the farmer's market. We have a January resolution sale. We have a skincare contest and a hyaluronic acid serum sale going on, and a blog, right? So the event we have on the 13th, the very last email we're going to do is on the 12th, and then working backwards every week for, say 6 to 8 weeks, or depending on how much time you have to plan for it. We do an email. Okay. The January resolution sale is only for the month. So the very last email is the 31st. The very first will be on January 2nd, and then every week in between. So you can see how that works here. And you see how everything's starting to coordinate, right? I know on the 9th, I'm going to post my blog on my website. I'm going to do a social media post about it, and I'm going to do an email. Okay, so that's how this calendar works. And if you are B2B, it works the same. So this is if it was my marketing business, I promote my webinars, my blog, I'm going to post on my website. I'm going to do a LinkedIn newsletter or article, either one, and do a social media post for the other social media platforms. And I'm going to do an email. All right, so this is going to start helping you coordinate everything and sync up all of your content, right? Make it easy. So hopefully that makes sense for the calendar. And then you have for social media posts each month, you have your post page, or I call it prep page as well. So this is where I lay out the content for my own brands, but also for my clients that I do the work for, so they can see it and approve it. So you have your layout, your captions, your hashtags, your links. You drop your image here. Again, it's not posting it on social media, but just laying all your content out here if there is an approval process. But then you also have it here for archive purposes, right? So it might seem like a little extra work to lay it out, but once you start doing this, not too much extra work, just to drop those images and all this in here. And then once at the end of the month, once everything is approved, I have this open next to Metricool. I go down each one and upload, copy, paste, upload image, schedule it, move on to the next one in about hour and a half or so, depending on how fast I'm copying and pasting and uploading. I have all of my whole month scheduled out using a scheduling tool. Okay. So that page, and then there's one page to put all of your blogs. So if you want to lay out your blog topics here, I put them on the blogs on a Google Doc, and then I include the link here because it's too much to paste an entire blog here. And this way, both my client and I, if we want to look at them and edit and share them, they're up on a Google Drive. And you can lay out your blog images here. And then there's also a running page of all of your emails that you lay out here. So you have, know what you're creating for your emails to coordinate with everything else. Right. So hopefully that makes sense. And you don't have to do new content for every single channel. If you want to make it look a little bit different, you can, but you can, send an email out, 5 things every first time home buyer should know, and also create it on social media, like you saw on my calendar, right? It doesn't have to be brand new or something different for each channel. The only exception to, like I said, LinkedIn, right, is all B2B, right? You can put B2B stuff on Facebook and Instagram, totally appropriate, but putting kind of more personal stuff over to LinkedIn, not so much, right? So it can go one way, but not the other for LinkedIn, would be the only exception to that. And then, so framework, when you're creating social posts, we kind of jumped right into social. You can, think of this step here, grab their attention. What's the problem they face, right? What's the solution you have? And what is the call to action for it? Okay, so when you're thinking of creating social media posts, because we're not just doing it for fun. I mean, you can post fun stuff, but especially on the promotional social media posts and emails, you do want to get a call to action. You're looking for some conversion, right? We want to sell the thing or have them do the thing that's going to help our business here. So to show you how that breaks down, here's an example. So business to business, here's a probably tax business. So did you know the hook, 85% of small businesses overpay on taxes? Oh, really? Oh my God, maybe that's me, right? Problem with because of the tax laws and changes, it's hard to keep up with it. So is that you? Am I getting to the point of raising my hand? My solution, right? Our team recently helped a local business save over 20,000 in tax liability, right? So you're telling them how we can potentially help you. Imagine if you could save with expert advice tailored to your business. So what's your call to action? And oops, here we go. I just hit that too fast. There we go. Want to uncover more tax saving strategies? Join our newsletter. So their call to action is, hey, sign up for our newsletter, not call us to get a free consultation, but sign up for the newsletter. And here's another example for a nonprofit. Did you know that over 6 million animals enter shelters every year, but only half of them find forever homes? Too many animals are overlooked. It's your problem solution. We rescue animals. So by joining our community, you'll receive heartwarming rescue stories. And of course, the call to action, subscribe to the newsletter. So this way they can hit you up for donations, right? Or volunteer work. Of course, that's what a nonprofit has to do. So how can you do your posts in this format? And even if you ever attended my marketing plan 101 class, I talk about when you talk about yourself, when you pitch yourself, it's kind of similar to this, right? So if I'm pitching myself, I talk about who I help, right? What's their problem? What's my solution? And what's the outcome? Right. So I'll give you an example for my pitch. Some of you might be familiar with it from that class. I talk about the hand raise message, right? So I say, I'm Patty with Golden State Marketing. I'm hired by busy business owners who wear so many hats that their marketing gets put on the back burner and all they really want is strategic focused marketing that actually grows their business. So if I break it's not really the same here. It's not really a hook, but I break it down into, okay, who do I help, right? Busy business owners who wear too many hats. What is their problem? Because they wear all the hats, their marketing is put on the back burner. My solution, strategic focused marketing, outcome that actually grows their business. So think about your pitch almost like this as well, right? Hopefully that makes sense. And e-commerce, here's retail. What's more fun than cozying up with a family and matching holiday pajamas? In a few months, guys, get your pajamas ready. Finding the perfect set. Is that stressful to find pajamas? I don't know. That shouldn't be a stressful thing, but okay. Solution sizes from babies to adults. We have everything here. Call to action. Again, subscribe to our newsletter, again, because we're talking email, to get exclusive holiday deals, early access to collections, etc. So again, we're talking building your list here. And how to find more content ideas. Definitely you want to create versus curate content. Look at what competitors are doing. Obviously not, copy them, see what's going on, what's happening in groups that might be relevant, see what they're talking about, not say promote your stuff in the groups, but see what's going on that might be relevant to the groups and resonate to them. And then using AI, right? If anybody's using AI, definitely can help you do some content with their ChatGPT, Google, whatever tools. There's a ton of AI tools out there. There's just a few mentioned here. Constant Contact has some AI campaign builder tools, content generator tools built in Constant Contact as well, to help you. So there's a lot of AI tools out there to help do the heavy lifting. I definitely train my coaching clients on how to use AI to help create content quickly out there, and also using Canva to create content and bulk create things. Right. And then make sure you're commenting on others' posts. I didn't even realize that as picture. A little behind there. I can't believe I'm wasting my hottest year sending emails. Okay. Gotta spend those hottest years sending those emails out. So very important to definitely reciprocate out there, to comment. LinkedIn, especially, if you're B2B, getting involved in the mix and not being reciprocal, not just showing up, posting and running. It's not all about you. They definitely LinkedIn kind of rewards you, so to speak, for participating and getting out there in the algorithm of other people's content and participating, right? Because it's just as if we're all meeting in a room, shaking hands, talking to each other, right? We don't just walk into a mixer, shout at somebody and tell them all about yourself and walk away. Maybe some people do. Never mind. Some people do that, but you shouldn't, right? We typically don't do that. We have a two-way conversation, right? So emails, right? So very important tool to use. As I said, the best ROI of any marketing tool out there. So a couple of marketing mistakes not to make, not having a plan in place, of course, assuming your customers don't want email, right? That's not true. They want to hear from you more often than you think. Don't project. I know some people say, I hate emails, so I don't want to send emails. Not collecting emails wherever you can, of course. Not being consistent all year, right? Unless you're very seasonal, but I'm working with a business that does holiday outdoor decor. That's what they're called, the big commercial ones. And I'm in the middle of Christmas lights and Christmas displays, social media posts, all since February. So even though they're very seasonal for when they do the work, we're promoting it all year. Right. No clear call to action. So making sure emails, what do you want them to do? Right. You're not just sending it for fun. Do you want them to sign up for a mailing list, which they already would be on if they got your emails, or buy the thing or download the thing, whatever the conversion is. Using your personal email account. These are two different things, really. Or using a freemium email. So using your personal email account means you're sending promotional emails to your Outlook or Apple Mail or Gmail account, which is you need to use an email platform. It's against canned spam rules. You don't have a way for people to unsubscribe from your Outlook. And that's really meant for one-off emails or group emails, but not like 500 promotional emails for your Outlook account. And then freemium email is different. It means that instead of having a domain email address, like a Patty@goldenstatemarketing.net, which is my website address, I'm using goldenstatemarketing@gmail, right? So not really professional to be using a freemium account, Gmail, Hotmail, AOL, Yahoo for your business. It should match your domain if you have a website. This way it makes it easy for people. Like, I'll look at your email addresses and I'll see, is their business name on there so I can look them up, right? So, and also there are some technical reasons on the email side, being able to authenticate your email. Most of the platforms do require you to authenticate the email, and you can't authenticate a freemium account. You have to prove that you are the owner of goldenstatemarketing.net. You can't do that with anybody can spoof your Gmail account. So there is a more technical reason to do that as well. And then not using automations, make it easy. Make sure you're communicating, doing the welcome series, things like that. Not looking at statistics. Of course, you need to look at open rates, click rates, conversion rates, right? Are they doing the things you want them to do? Not segmenting if you can. And then again, thinking everybody can do marketing. Kind of going back to having the kids do it for you. Make sure, especially with this tool, that you have somebody who knows what they're doing with it, because it is the best ROI of any marketing tool out there. I think I have the slide right now. So as you can see here, just about an average 36 to 44 for every $1 spent. That has been this way for years, hasn't changed. Nothing even comes close. You can see social media is about half of that, right? And the text marketing, people are doing that now, $11 average return on investment. So it is the best. You don't want to mess this up. You don't want to ignore your list. Don't say, I don't want to annoy my customers by emailing them. You guys are probably not even slightly irritating yet. And let your competitor send them emails. Okay. If you're afraid to contact your customers because you might annoy them, why are you in business? Honestly, right? So you need to reach out. You need to, I'm going to say, quote, annoy them. Annoying them means you're advertising, you're marketing to them. Okay. But not annoying them. Okay. Oh, and this is the one I wanted to show you earlier. I showed you the demographics for social media. So versus email usage across the board, and we're talking by age group. So remember that most of them were the millennials and below, right? Is he still here? 40 and below is a majority if you add all those together. But you can see where it really drops off when you start getting 40 and above in comparison, right? But look at email on the bottom right. Across the board, only a slight drop off in 65 plus. So if you are the senior market, you definitely should be doing email. Let's see if you can gather email, because you'll have more likelihood to reach them than you would on social media. Right. So yes, you will get the recording and the slides here. And how often they want to hear from you. You can see here, at least monthly is number one, weekly, 61%, right? You can see it really drops off, annually, quarterly. So if you're just like, I'll just do my one quarterly newsletter and I'm good, think again. Remember that ROI. They might not see that one quarterly newsletter, right? It really does work. Okay. I've had a couple of people recently, a couple guys who attended. One guy attended a live score class I did when I still was living on the Central Coast in had to be 2018 or 2019, because when COVID hit, everything went virtual. And he attended that live class and he just reached out to talk about marketing. He's been getting my emails on a regular basis and hasn't dropped off the list in all those years. And finally something like, okay, I need to do it. Right. Another guy from 2021. I'm saying, what brought you here? My emails, right? So why do people subscribe? I know we're going a little over. So I think we maybe have another 5 minutes or so. So that's okay. So reasons people subscribe to your list, right? There has to be an incentive to them, right? You might be offering discounts or offers, maybe something exclusive, first look, or only on email they see this item. And that's, of course, this to support your business or your cause, if you're a nonprofit. That's why they typically join. And oops, I just realized I had this slide in here twice. There we go. To reiterate how important it is to send emails out on a more regular basis, right? Definitely create a sign up form to collect those subscribers, right? You can set up these forms on Constant Contact or really any of the email platforms out there. You can offer a lead magnet, right? So a lead magnet would be, hey, I have the top 10 social media marketing mistakes white paper, and you're like, as a business owner, you want to know what those are, right? And sign up and I'll send you that top 10 list. Okay. Definitely explain the benefits. What am I going to get, right? Here's by subscribing, you'll unlock exclusive access to latest HR tech tools, etc. Right. Set the expectations, how often you might be emailing them, right? We're not going to sell your list and you can unsubscribe at any time, right? So make sure you deliver on your promise, right? You might want to collect phone numbers if you want to do text marketing, or to reach out if you're not going to do text marketing as well. And oops, there we go. All right. Gotta stay off the mouse. So using social media, if you have on Instagram, you have a link tree. If you're familiar, their link in bio, you can create this kind of form here to have them sign up for your list. That's one of the ways you can do social media. Instagram stories, if you can. I think you have to have so many subscribers still for the swipe ups, or do a link, right? Tag a link with visual content. So any way you can. So do it, as I mentioned earlier, do an evergreen post that you put out there. Hey, sign up for our list, get exclusive offers, access, etc. On there. So bring them over to social media, from social media to email. And definitely engage them where they're most engaged, right? I just talked about automations. Send an automated welcome email. This is when it says, including offers and welcome emails can boost revenue by 30% per email. 74% expect to receive a welcome email immediately after subscribing to a mailing list. So not like, I just signed up for your email, I didn't get anything, and then maybe like weeks later. No, set up an automation. As soon as they sign up, hey, welcome to our list. Let me give you a 10% coupon. Follow us for this. Go join us on social media, etc. Right? Set those expectations, as I mentioned earlier, frequency, types of content. Right? Tease upcoming content, build anticipation. So this is when they're most engaged and more likely to open it as soon as you send it. Right? As soon as they sign up, you send them a welcome email. It's amazing how many. I signed up for a bunch of lists yesterday for chambers of commerce to see how many send emails. And a lot of them didn't even have a sign up on their form. And then when I did sign up, I think only one or two, I got the opt-in, like Constant Contact sends an opt-in. I think a couple had MailChimp. They send the the secondary opt-in list. But none did any special welcome emails from there. Right. So so how often should you send emails? As you saw from that slide, at least weekly, monthly, where you're high, or where you're highest out there. I would say weekly is fine. I send a couple of times per week. Don't be afraid. Yes, people might unsubscribe if you send too many emails, but the number is super low. in general. I mean, I will cry, a tear every time I see somebody unsubscribe from my list. I'm like, oh, they don't like me. But I'm like, I get over it, right? I'm like, okay, they just don't need me for marketing. Maybe they already do their own marketing and they're just not interested. That's okay. But the drop off I get is minuscule for the amount of emails that I send out. So it's not let the people who unsubscribe, they're not your brand ambassadors. Okay. And again, we don't always see that one email that you send out. You're sending out your newsletter to me, like, I'll just do it quarterly. That's fine. It just feels like you're just, what is the term? You're just showing up just to show up, just to say, just to check the box, but you're not really putting that much thought in it. You're just saying, I just need to do it because I have this list and I just should put something out there, but there's no strategy behind it. Okay. So definitely have a strategy. You can look at previous emails and see when are they opening. Generally, most of the people are going to open as soon as the email goes out, right? So if you're sending it at 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll probably see most of the people generally within the first couple of hours open it, and you might get some trickle from there, but you can kind of get a feel from looking at previous emails. And this is of course in constant contact, what time they're typically opening up those emails to give you a rough idea. They have an algorithm within the email programs to know too when are the best sending times. So they know most people, they mostly open them, 11 o'clock, at night or 10 a.m. in the morning. But generally, the best sending days and times, Tuesday is the best engagement day for emails, but generally earlier in the week, 9 a.m. to noon or so are your best open times and rates. And you can try other days, and see what works for your list, but generally that's going to be the times. Monday through Wednesday are going to be your highest engagement, with Tuesday popping up a little bit more. So quick ways to increase your sharing power and grow your list, right? Give them a sneak peek. Share your email on social, of course, and allow them to share your email, right? So you can add social sharing and social following, right? Social sharing is like, here, share this email across LinkedIn and X and Facebook, etc. Social following is obviously follow us on, Twitter, like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, etc. So you can do both of those within constant contact. And then definitely amp up, right, your social media. Focus on storytelling with your content. Stay active on social, right? It's not just one and done. Here, leverage AI where you can. If it helps you beat that writer's block, it definitely helps, right? So definitely tons of things you can do, combining everything, your email, your automation, social media, your digital ads, surveys, right? You can integrate with tools with constant contact. So Canva can be integrated with it now. You can do content on Canva and bring it into constant contact. So they are integrated with some tools. And these are all the things that constant contact does. In addition to email marketing, you can post socially, you can set up automations. Again, there's AI tools, text marketing if you want to add that. You can create landing pages for your lead magnets. You can even create social and Google ads and events. So create surveys and polls. So tons of things you can do with constant contact, not just email marketing anymore, right? So you get a little gift. So take out your phones. You're going to get a couple QR codes coming up here. So if you're interested in trying constant contact, they offered a free little gift while I'm doing this classes. So if you scan the code, you can get a free trial for a month. Or if you want, you sign up for 3 months, you can get that at 30% off of constant contact. Okay, and then next one I'm going to give you is my QR code. So if you want to schedule a strategy session with me to talk about your marketing, any questions you have about your email or social media or LinkedIn or whatever, scan the QR code on the right. And then I do have a marketing lab group on LinkedIn, so you're welcome to join it. You can shamelessly plug yourself in the group. I do not mind that at all. Share who you are, who you serve, links to your website, whatever you want to do. Just, I always say, my only rule is nothing illegal, but definitely introduce yourself. Ask any marketing questions you have. That's what the group is there for, and I'm there hanging out and answering questions. So there we go. I'm finished. Our a little bit over time, but let's see. I think I don't know if that's a question in the Q&A.
Yeah, we have one in a Q&A.
A question.
From Shamim, yeah. She says, I've had many interesting roles over the period of time, such as a diplomatic position, director of a couple of nonprofits, published author. Current venture is a nonprofit digital platform that hosts children's stories from around the globe. Her question is whether I should include my previous avatars in my LinkedIn profile. That's an interesting question.
Yeah. So I mean, when you say your other previous avatars, your previous jobs that you had or positions and things that you've done, companies you've worked with, I would say yes. I mean, unless there's some reason that I don't mean, unless you're ashamed of what you did there, which you shouldn't be, put everything on there. I mean, I think any business owner should be well-rounded. So previous jobs on there. I would say, okay, my job I had as a teenager working at McDonald's, I don't have to have that on there, but I would say any of those would be fine. You can definitely put on. I had a client that she was I say architectural designer, interior designer, and now she's working in aerospace. She's working with a partner, and they help pull satellites out of space. So they don't turn into space junk. They have a thing that attaches onto a satellite, and it brings it back safely to space and doesn't end up as space junk. Totally different than her interior design work, but we reworked her profile about page to kind of integrate that and marry those two together, how that her interior design kind of helps with what she's doing now. I forgot exactly what it was, but we kind of grouped them together so it didn't look like, she totally pivoted in a different direction. Yes, she's still learning the aerospace world, but she, her previous experience kind of lends itself to that. So I think that's could help. I don't think there's any questions in the chat. So one more. Okay.
Yeah, one more from Deanna. Basically, she says, if you have a public email list, is it okay to email them?
If you have a policy, I know you see people need to opt in. If you have a public list of email addresses, public list. I'm not sure what you mean by a public list. I mean, the rules are they should opt in, right? Yes, there are people who do purchase lists. I do have an email marketing class I teach and talk about purchasing. You have to, a couple of reasons you have to be careful. I don't know if that's it, or I'm not sure what you mean by the public list. Like say if you got it off a directory or something, you have to be careful because two reasons, like just say for Constant Contact, I know they're going to be pretty strict about it. If you upload a list into say Constant Contact, you just bought it, or it's a public list off a directory, wherever your source was. And two things, if you get a ton of bounces, if you haven't cleaned it first, and you get a ton of like over 10%, they're going to go, where'd you get this list? When did you last use it? So they might shut you down there. Never use a email platform as a list cleaner. There are list cleaning tools out there. And the other one is if you get a high amount of people who unsubscribe and then mark, I never signed up for this list, they will also question that as well. They will. I had this happen to me, and it was there was nothing I did. I didn't purchase a list for a couple. And this happened in December, which was interesting because I think a lot, like I did too, a lot of people are cleaning out their inboxes, and I was unsubscribing to a lot of things. Now you can check off with Constant Contact, I never signed up for it, or I'm no longer interested, or whatever. And the top one is I never signed up. But a couple of people, it happened twice, went some extra step. Constant Contact never explained it to me in full, but they went some extra step to a third party to report that it was spam. Now I only have people who sign up from, join my classes. I don't buy lists or anything, so I'm not sure what they did. Constant Contact, and I'm a Constant Contact partner, right? They shut my account down and said, can you call us? We need to have a conversation. And they grilled me. Where did you get that list? Where's that from?
Gosh.
Where are you signing these people up? So I'd explain, they come from me teaching, they opt in, maybe they forgot. I don't know who it is who reported it, and they cleared it, because again, they can see I wasn't dumping lists into my account. So they will. I mean, I know they'll take it seriously if you do drop some stuff in and get those high bouncer spam rates in there. So you do have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Let's see, is there a good tool to take seminar videos and turn them into clips to use in social media posts other than some, I don't know. There are out there, nothing that I've used. That's a good idea though, take seminar videos. If anybody has suggestions for that in chat, put it in
Put that in the
chat.
chat.
Yeah, there definitely, somebody told me, I don't know if there was an AI tool, because somebody suggested I take my seminar videos and turn them into clips and do different things. So there are tools, I just don't have them to share. If I figure that out, I'll include that on the landing page. Oops, oh, I went backwards there. Okay, that's a repeated question. And then let's see, any other questions you're seeing in here, David?
No, I think that is it.
All right. Well, and you're
Yeah.
welcome to, like I said, schedule that strategy session with me to ask any questions you want and see
Yeah.
if I can do to help you out. So thank
Definitely
you.
encourage everyone to do that.
Yes.
Patty, thank you so much. This was a lot and good stuff. You know, you always deliver, always deliver. So, and thanks everybody for joining. Janet, thanks for driving the ship as always.
Sure,
Thank you.
everyone, if you'll stick around for a quick survey, we'd like your feedback on that as well.
Yep. And we'll be back next week for another Toolkit Tuesday. Thanks for joining us and have a good Tuesday. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.